is something I need to quickly read out to you, and I want us to discuss it. We're moving away from product management now to changing the African narrative in product management through Microsoft. I want us to create a background for that discussion before going to it. Most of the relationship that most African countries have with the Western world or the Western country have always been based on resources. I mean, resources, crude oil, the natural resources, or maybe infrastructure. But right now, we're trying to change the narrative to being a knowledge exchange. But most SMEs, most product managers, African product managers, African SMEs, few of them have been able to change their narrative, but most of us, we're still finding it hard to change the narrative. How best do you think we can shift from the economy-based exchange to knowledge-based exchange?
I would think that, well, first of all, I don't think I'm anyone.
You didn't get that?
Sorry? I think you froze. No, you didn't. Can I speak?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Okay, so maybe a big disclaimer here. I don't think that I'm the right person to comment on the political aspects or like on a country level. But what I can tell you is I think that same thing happened in Poland. Poland used to be seen in Europe as the source of the workers and the workforce that is, well, not as expensive as the Western Europe's people. However, what we did different than the Western countries is that we really invested highly in our education, being very IT focused. And ever since I was a kid and the political climate changed, we were very strongly taught to speak English, which really helped me in my career long term. But at the moment, Poland is no longer what it used to be 20 years ago. We all worked hard to become the source of the information labor. There's all the big companies are here. There are consultancies. A lot of companies have moved their tech centers here to Poland just because we have a lot of technical universities. There's a lot of great engineers coming to the market each year. And that is because our education is also free for the common citizen. So when I went to the university, I didn't have to pay a dime other than books or equipment. I didn't pay for the classes themselves. No one asked me to pay anything to become a doctor. I actually was paid to give classes at that stage, and it was pretty hilarious. But when you do this fundamental work, that young people are able to move around in the current world of technology, of having stuff in cloud, being able to communicate with anyone in the world fluently, then everything is open to you. I would say that you don't need to think as like how to change the African narrative. It's more like appreciate the world, how it's open right now, and get the best of it. Especially now, after the pandemic, when some of the legends that people working remotely are ineffective, that you have to sit in the office. Now everyone discovered that it's not really the case. Of course, there are cases where you'd rather be in the office with your team, looking eye to eye. But really, when the world will progress, when maybe Skype will be better than Zoom one day, and meetings like this will be much easier, and I hope to bring it to you, then the place where you live won't be important. Your knowledge, your intelligence, your expertise will be valued regardless of your nationality, of your background, or where you live. And I hope that like in 20, no, like in 5 years, I no person will have to move countries or cities to get their dream job, and all that will be required is to be just competent, to have the right set of skills, and make sure that people who come from historically more rich countries will have to compete on the same basis, on the same set of rules as anyone from anywhere. And realizing that makes will might have the right impact on the mindset for any young person who'd like to become a product manager, a developer, business owner. I mean, the world is more open and full of opportunities than it ever was. And making sure you know that, making sure that you're open to grab those opportunities is what can change anyone's life.
Okay, thank you, Bart. One of the challenges that most startups have expressed, because we have a platform where we support Black business owners.
Mm-hmm.
One of the major challenges that most of them feel in the form is the aspect of finance. And most product managers also said that financing their originals, financing their job, financing the new feature they want to put out there is a major challenge to them. What do you think these product managers, what do you think these SMEs and these startup founders can do to manage the situation, and how do you think it can get finance to power what they have as product managers, as SMEs, and also as startup founders?
Okay, so I think it's really back to the basics. Some ideas simply won't be good. Some ideas will be great and won't find the right finance. However, if you know what you want to do and you know how to achieve it, then it's a little bit like scientific research. You can either have a solution to a problem that has never been before, and solving this problem can bring profit, or there is a new type of solution to an existing problem that's somehow better than any other previous solution, whether it's cheaper, quicker, more effective, less impactful on health, whatever. But knowing the market and going with a good product that had the right research, had the right market found before the product was invested, really helps you to start up. Of course, not every great idea will be able to capture the attention of a hedge fund. But here is where the modern world of the internet comes in place with the crowdfunding sites that are not really connected to any particular country. Anyone can use Kickstarter or Indiegogo and find people who will support his or her idea, provided that, well, this is a successful campaign. And it's almost a full-time job to get the right information and the right crowd uh, as in itself, right? I mean, you can't go to crowdfunding platform without a good offer. You can't go without the vision. You can't. It's good if you show some early results, and that's actually great because it forces you to do the work that you really need to create a great product anyway ahead of time, because otherwise you won't get funding. Your crowdfunding campaign won't be successful, and either it's successful and you did your work great and you can kick off with your initiative, or you may find that your hypothesis about the product or the solution for a problem that you figure out is not actually marketable. And I've I think the statistic, at least for Poland, said that only every fifth startup is actually um, successful, which means that our 80% of them are not. So the challenge here is not to spend too much of your own time and cash to something that will never be successful, but it's not any reason to self-doubt. It's not any I'm not discouraging you. I'm just saying that do your work to the best of your abilities. Make sure you find your clients, and those will help you get the funding, either directly or if a bigger player notices the Kickstarter campaign, he or she might invest in you earlier, or at least catch the eye on your initiative. And later down the line, where the company will be already operational, there'll be product, there'll be clients, he might come in with a big offer to buy out part of the company and give the investment money needed to carry on with the initiative to make it even bigger, even better.
Okay, we have less than 10 minutes for this first session. I want to appreciate you for joining us. And before we go, I have this question, which is something that we researched and we discovered that might also be one of the challenges that African startups have. And in early 2020, figures showed that venture capitalist funding for African fintech startups has risen by 51%, with funding being generated from virtual banking projects, consumer credit checks, and also finance apps. But this is just like a drop in the ocean. And what recommendation do you think you can suggest to African startups in the coming years?
I think that the recommendation I can make is to treat the whole world as one country, really, and be ready to invest in trying your startup in different places. If it's an IT one, then maybe it's worth to try what was successful already in Nigeria or any other African country to another country where there are more clients, when there are more opportunities. As I said, we live in a digital village, and provided you speak the same language and the problem you are solving is common for any particular person, then there's nothing wrong with to invest a little bit of cash to try the product in a different country in some MVP way. Maybe just start Facebook ads to see if people will be interested in your product elsewhere. Try to, I think it all comes down to the fact that there really is a one single common digital market in terms of the availability, in terms of the accessibility to clients. Of course, when we go down to legal stuff, it gets much more complicated, and there are different rules and different laws governing different countries, which is the fine detail that you can tune and work on when you know you have your clients, when you know that there's interest to your product, and when you know there'll be profit in the work for that country. Like you can see that Uber did work for some countries. Uber was pushed back by others, and basically, and a group of countries just made it so Ubers are basically taxi drivers, and it was beneficial for taxi drivers because they now have better, easier laws, and they got the tech to compete with Uber. So this disruptive, well-renowned startup really not only worked towards betterment of its own business, it really pushed the whole driver and passenger business to the whole new technological level, and that's really great. I recently left the taxi that I was driving with an app, and I was surprised when I didn't even have to confirm my payment in an app which used to be there for the longest time, and they finally caught up to the Uber standard. And setting those digital standards is also a great opportunity. You may find that there's a product that works in some country that you can just take the idea, polish, make it better, make a better UX, fix the issues that are in the original product, and also set the bar higher.